Are the Warriors in real trouble here?
Oh, yeah, they're in real trouble. I mean, but that's based off the expectations. If you're the Warriors, you got to remember who you're facing. And when you're going out there, your opponent and what their mindset is. We know that Houston is all about the math and Daryl Morey and hit the threes or go to the free throw line or get to the rim. And they're winning in the math and they're winning in the mentality. But if you're Golden State, you should expect this. This is a team that thought that they really beat you last year, but they had the injury to Chris Paul. So when you're facing that team, there's nothing you're going to do to walk into that arena and scare those guys. There are no points on that scoreboard before you actually lace them up. So this is a team that's looking at you like you're not invincible. And a lot of teams give up points to the Warriors just in mentality, just in going against this team and how dynastic they are. So, yeah, the Warriors are in real trouble coming into this series, facing a talented, deeper team that already thought that they had their number.
Warriors may be in trouble, but it's not in this series. Up until the last 2 minutes, yes, but up until the last 2 minutes of last night's game, I would have said, man, Rockets have figured something out. They have found that confidence. And then they took me back to Game 7 of last year, which is it's time to close out. Wait a minute, how do we close out a champion? We've never closed out a champion before. Let's hope one of these threes goes in. And they changed their whole demeanor. I saw a champion's pride in the Golden State Warriors saying, oh, no, let's go get this because we started our best lineup. We need to make this a short series. Now, they failed in that, and that does cause some concern, if not in this series, certainly down the line. But the Rockets have not demonstrated. You said in your soliloquy, which I enjoyed, you said the problem is in Houston. You're right. It's in Houston. That's where the Rockets have demonstrated that toughness. That's where they've demonstrated that urgency. They didn't demonstrate that in the first two games in Golden State. So until I see P.J. Tucker and their complementary players take that game on the road, I'm not convinced that they have enough to get this done.
What? I can't back you up. Because I can't back you up. And because a toughness, yes, but what made this Golden State team so tough in the past was that when Curry went out, when Clay went out, when Durant went out, the bench came in and they had support. Right now, that's not the case. Right now, Houston's bench is outscoring Golden State's 19-10. More importantly, Houston's bench is shooting 34% from the three-point line, which is outshooting Golden State, period.
Right.
Okay? So it's the complementary players, and I'm going to take it back to a conversation we had before. Golden State's success made everybody else step up their game, okay, from a starter's perspective, but who you had coming in on the bench. So right now, the league has caught up somewhat, okay, from that perspective, while Golden State fell back from the bench perspective. So the beauty of Golden State is like, listen, we got home court advantage. Okay, you won your 2 games at home. Now it's a 3-game series with 2 of ours being at home. So we take care of home court no matter what you do, Houston. Yeah. We still walk out of this series, even if it's 7 games, on to the Western Conference.
But that still sounds like trouble because you won the first game by 6, second game by 4. And in that situation, the toughness wasn't in play like it's been in Houston. So Houston goes back, performs the same, but as the layer of toughness on the road, that's what we're talking about.
But it's supposed to be trouble. It's supposed to be trouble. It's not supposed to be easy. Houston is supposed to take them. Houston is supposed to fight because you know why? They are the hunters. They are the ones that are going to scrap, to pull, to do everything. And Golden State, Draymond said it. Say, listen, they fighting a different kind of fight. We got to step up to that. If I'm trying to beat the champion, that's what I have to do. So I expect that from Houston.
I think, and look, I could be proven wrong over the coming days, but I just think James Harden has been this three-point shooter and a flopper and a guy that gets to the free throw line and all this other stuff. But on the other side of this eye injury, which, again, I misread and misjudged, it's a legitimate injury, I think his teammates, Chris Paul and everybody else, looks at him a little bit different, like, oh, man, this dude is for real. He has a level of toughness that I don't think other people gave him credit for. And I've looked at this team, particularly P.J. Tucker, who's always been tough, take on more of James's identity, and that was the difference in these last 2 games. I didn't know if James knew he had this in him, but he's just not going out like that I think he and the team are different in the aftermath of this injury.
I do believe that look, I think he's always played physically from an offensive standpoint. And so I don't think, I think it's a matter of mental toughness more than anything else.
Right.
And he's fought through that. But again, the end of that game is what really, he suddenly looked tentative. Chris Paul looked tentative. Mm-hmm. They didn't have the same energy or motion. And the one troubling part you mentioned,
it almost sounds like they missed the wide open 3-pointer.
They were up.
Game.
They were up 10 with 2 minutes left, and it became a one-possession game. It should have never come to that, and it did. Not because Golden State was stopping them, but because they were settling for threes. They were suddenly pounding the ball in one place, and then clock's short. I got to put something up. That's not how they got there. They got there with that aggression, going to the cup when they were closing out. They didn't do that in the last minute or two. And to me, meanwhile, you could see the Warriors were like, oh, we're going to get after this now. They should not have had an opportunity. They had an opportunity to push that game to overtime. They never should have had that. And they had it not just because of the Warriors. The Warriors are not going to beat themselves, but because the Rockets let the door open.
Well, I'll tell you what a coach would say in those moments, that we can't find our way based on their failures. So if I'm Golden State, I have no confidence going into Game 5 saying we're going to wait for them to start pounding the ball, getting away from their game plan. That's when we thrive. So you got to have consistency when you have game plan to have confidence. So Golden State right now doesn't have confidence in their game plan. They can say post up KD. They say KD, get your own shot. But they don't have consistency when it comes to Steph. They don't have consistency when it comes to Clay right now. So right now, they're not knowing
or even
which
style
way.
of attack, which you just laid out.
Yeah.
They went with a different style last night, which I thought was better.
Right.
But that, to me, is like they made the counter move because they've lost confidence.
But the biggest problem is not at the offensive end. It's defensively that they can't make stops. They went at, this is the first time I've ever seen somebody go at Draymond Green. They went at Draymond Green. They went at, but they've been going at Steph the whole time. They went at Klay Thompson. Like, they had certain matchups. The only one that they went away from, which says a lot about where KD is right now, that was the one they rejected and said, let's go get something else.
It was amazing what KD did. He took on the challenge.
He did, too, and he pushed, Steph when they tried to set a screen with Eric Gordon. He pushed him away. But here's the difference, too. Not having someone to protect the rim allows now Houston to attack.
Yes.
Okay.
If they do.
If they do. And what I'm going to go back to this. Again, I know Mike D'Antoni. I played for him. Down the stretch of the game to make the kind of plays you need to make to win in Golden State. Forget Houston. Yeah. To win in Golden, that's what concerns me. Because, like Rick talked about, the three-point shots at the end of the game were shots that Houston allowed themselves to take. It wasn't things that Golden State did. And to me, to go on the road to beat Golden State, you got to continue to put pressure on the defense, make them make decisions. If you don't do that, you're going to bail them out. You're going to shoot long shots, which allows them to get out and run.
Jim, you do know that before these last two games, I think Golden State had won 11 straight on the road. They've shown weakness and vulnerability this season at home more so than on the road.
But that's okay. Here's my point, though. This is a different kind of series when something is on the line. Houston, during the regular season, dominated Golden State. But so what? That didn't matter on those first two games because it's a different consequence when you lose. It's a different kind of pressure in the playoffs. And that's what I'm saying. We haven't seen that from Houston yet in Golden State, that they can get over the hump. And they're going to do that by being consistent in what they do early in the game and do that late.
Let me throw you a lifeline. This is the one. This is the one question that I have.
Yep.
The Warriors got 46 minutes out of their bench. Points and statistics aside, 46 minutes. Now, the Rockets don't play a deep rotation, but they got 60 plus. You are going to count in this, whatever, Game 5, Game 7, whatever is at home, you need something out of Alfonso McKinney. You need something out of Kevon Looney. Yep. Now, they're actually, the guy that hasn't been talked about right now, going the cheap on Patrick McCaw, how much would they love having Patrick McCaw as a piece that they could go to or they could start so they could still bring Andre Iguodala off the bench? Their problem is they don't have any playmakers coming off the bench, and they used to have both Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala as options. Now it's, we got to start our best five just to stay in the game. That's what concerns me as this series moves forward.
All right, so what's say, and I think you guys have already answered this, but I want to ask it, get it more direct. What's a bigger problem for the Warriors? The Rockets and this new confidence the Rockets have, or is the problem with Golden State?
For me, it's Golden State. It's a matter of that they don't have a bench. You've got to play Steph Curry 43 minutes. He's going to be targeted every opportunity that they get. That takes him away. That means KD is going to be more of your playmaker, and that doesn't get everybody else involved. That kind of limits what you do, but I can't go away from it because KD can get his shot anytime. So now that rhythm and that game that they had that they could fall back on, now they're kind of figuring it out as they go along, which puts them in a different realm than you would normally have a team that is playing for a third consecutive championship.
Yeah, I would say it's the Warriors as well. As great as the Rockets are playing, especially these last 2 games at home, and we know how good they play at home, if you're the Warriors, you just have too many star players that can form the Voltron you need to just overcome what you're facing in terms of Houston. Houston, if you think about all the great championship teams in recent times, you go back, you can go to Magic and Kareem, you can go to Jordan and Pippen, Shaq and Kobe, wherever you want to go. You've never heard Harden and P.J. Tucker. Right? If you want to, no disrespect, right. P.J. Tucker, but brother, that's not how it goes. So when we're hearing, Clay and Steph and then KD and Steph, like Houston is in trouble. They have to maximize all of their efforts and play above their heads just to even stay in this.
And they need Golden State to fall off.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what
they fall off because, one, fatigue, okay, because now you got to play your starters extended minutes. Second, Golden State's best offense is when they have ball movement, okay? Listen, they're going to be able to get to the paint. If I'm Golden State and I'm Steve Kerr, going into Game 5, we're going to attack the paint. Okay, they want to give us twos, we're going to take twos. Eventually, they're going to start to leak in. Eventually, they're going to sink in because they're tired of giving up layups. That's when those open, consistent three-point shots are going to come. But to me, it's changing the mind. Golden State beat you. Not just by threes. They beat you because they got easy layups. That's how Golden State used to beat you.
I think the problem is in Houston. I said that off the top. I gotta sit here and give Mike D'Antoni credit. There was a basket right before halftime. Golden State tried to get away with putting Jordan Bell in the game.
Jordan Bell and Kevon Looney on the floor.
And every point counts. And they exploited that immediately. That, to me, that playing that kind of smart, relentless, efficient, that's what I didn't ever expect from D'Antoni, James Harden, these guys.